Mike's research, what he's found is with putting, it's 2-to-1 ratio. With the full swing, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. What's the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, again, it's the big thing that we've been looking at for so many years together. So as we, really Mike helped me for the very first time start to understand how we're going to do golf schools, right? So
right.
We have those students in 3 days, and then you talk about what's these 4 dimensions. So the fastest way that we found to really get the students performing better and then performing over a long period of time is to look at their time. So if their timing elements, their variables, the variances get out of whack, and everything else falls apart. So we can really get what we see with the best putters in the world, the best ball strikers, is they're able to control time. And that goes across all sports. You look at a Michael Jordan, whoever it is, Gretzky, they're able to control time. Even we've heard the stories of they kind of know where the puck's going to be, not where it is now. And it's the same thing we see with the best ball strikers, time and time again. Their variance on timing is within 100th of a second. So it would take me and Mike a whole lot of training to get back to that level. Now our bodies can do it. It's not like it takes a lot of strength, but it takes that feedback. So as I make motions, how am I changing over a period of time?
Yeah, without the constant feedback, you don't know if you're progressing or not. That's what's great about this. I used to use the Sam Putt Lab a lot, and since I got Lost Motion, what's happened is, anybody want to buy a Sam Putt Lab? Because it is an affordable way of testing and checking out all the information you need.
And it's ultra portable.
That's right. Affordable and portable. Those are 2 things that are important.
So again, like any technology, everything evolves over, right? So again, what we're able to do here versus when we first built KVS. So KVS, same type of technology. So it's all inertial, military-grade technology. We're just able to reduce it. So now what we used to do with one-off as far as manufacturing, now we can do thousands at a time. So we're able to get still that medical and tactical grade technology at an affordable price. And our goal is always to keep reducing the size of the sensor where it disappears. So at the end of the day, we know as we work with our best players, we want the technology to completely disappear. As coaches, we can now track what they're doing. So what you're going to see here at the show is not just the sensor, the app, but also the portal. So over periods of time, you can track what your athletes are doing.
The great thing that Mike has done is he keeps the teacher first in mind. He asks questions constantly. What can we do to make this better? So he's constantly on the cutting edge, trying to improve the product so it's more accessible to us. And that's a key thing that he keeps gathering information, keep making us smarter, and the smarter we get, the better we can make our students.
So it's really exciting. Right now we have a little over 200 tour players using our product on a weekly basis. We have a little over 1.5 million strokes in our database just for the tour players. So with that data, we can see what's going, what those trends are, and then what's the amateur golfer doing, and what's the differences. So as coaches, we want to bring our average players up to that tour level potential.
Do you find a consistent parameter for the best?
Come on in, Christy. Talk.
I was just going to ask if you have in your database a consistent parameter of where the best putters are as far as forward stroke timing, backstroke timing, and do we try and fit our players into that window as well?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what are the best players in the world doing with timing? So over all the strokes that we have out there today, we're seeing 0.60 on backstroke time, 0.30 on forward stroke time. But it's the same thing that Mike and I have been doing with our research for years. That's based on the size of the body. It's really important. So now, based on the size of the body, you're going to create a mechanical structure, a pendulum, if you would. And the size of that pendulum determines that time. So if you look at all the golfers that are walking around this room, we can see there's not too many of them below 4 feet tall, and not too many of them above 7 feet tall, right? So now we start to look at what's the size of these structures, and that's why it's 0.6 and 0.3 as the average. Now, you're going to vary from that as you vary from size, but you're going to vary a few thousandths of a second.
What is your standard deviation?
Yeah, the standard deviation is really, we're looking at 0.60 is the mean, and then standard deviation is 2 points either side.
0.6 is the mean?
0.6 is the mean, and you say 58 on the other side.
So that's a pretty tight standard deviation.
Yeah.
If a lot of times what people do with averages is they take the top and the bottom and mesh them together and say this is where you need to be, when nobody's actually here. Everybody is somewhere over here or here. So when it's that tight, then you know that it's pretty correct information.
And so what we learned very early on, working with Mike and working with all the great instructors, is let's go measure. We always like to walk into the day saying we know nothing, but let's go measure. Now that we can measure, we can start to understand that. So again, it's completely objective data, and now we're going to start to see trends. So as Mike makes some strokes, we can see what that data is. Now, based on his body, we need to find him a closer tolerance. Again, what is his goal? Maybe his goal is that I play once a week. If I can get his variance, 2400ths of a second, he's going to play better golf. And that's just time, right? So that's the first dimension we're talking about here. So what's time? The next one is they want to spend some more time working with the device, working on their game. We're going to work at speed. Right, so if I look at time and I look at speed, I can take a golfer at a pretty good level.
So these players are using this predominantly as a training tool.
It is. It's what it is.
Yeah.
So our best players in the world practice on it every single day for about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
When they're out on tour, they go into the hotel rooms and they make some motions. They're calibrating their own clock. So if you want to simplify this device, one piece of it is the clock. The other piece of it is a speedometer. The third piece of it is a ruler. So now I have 3 tools in my little toolbox that I can now look at. So the golfers are getting calibrated. So we see it as coaches, what happens when they come see us, we get them calibrated, they're in frequency. When they leave, we lose them. So that's the big piece about Blast Connect, is I can track how my golfers are doing. Because what you feel and what is real, as we know as coaches.
Yeah, feel and real are totally different. This helps to bring the two together so that now that it's useful. I mean, if you're not, everybody says perfect practice, but what is perfect practice? Well, if you don't have correct feedback, there's no such thing as perfect practice. With positive feedback, it'll let you know where you are and what you need to do. You can be able to recreate something both on the golf course as well as putting. So now what's happening here and what's happening out there is the same thing. So the scores come down.
So we see it as coaches. What do our practice putting greens look like in the mornings, in the afternoons, and the evenings? Everyone's on the driving range, but how much go to we usually walk across the putting green to get to the driving range, right? Because we didn't really know how to train. What am I doing? Well, we got to work on this and that, but I don't know how to calibrate myself. So as Mike is saying, the number one thing that we want to look at is time. So if you don't have a clock to reference what your calibration of your time is, you really, everything else is compensating. And sometimes those compensations will turn into an injury.
And then you got the ones who go out there and practice putting. What do? They drop 3 balls, 20 feet from the hole, and they hit 3 putts and miss them. What's the feedback? Well, I'm a crappy putter because I've missed 3 putts. Then they go get 3 more 20-footers and miss 3 more. Now they miss 6. And now they're reinforcing I am a crappy putter. And then they hit 3 more. Now they've got missed 9. And all of a sudden they make 1 out of 12. And they say, well, I'm a horrible putter, not crappy. So the whole idea is understanding how to utilize the tools correctly. So what this is going to do is going to make you want to use your practice time correctly. What this allows you to do is make your practice time progressive instead of just exercise.
It's what we saw years ago at PGA Nationals. You can get guys working on their putting, but what about the rest of the part of the short game? So we developed the Short Game Academy, and that was really to start to look at the weaknesses of our players. So we can get them to be ball strikers, but how do they work themselves around the golf course? We found out right away is the average golfer has no idea what's the difference between a putt and a chip, what's the difference between a chip and a pitch, distance wedge. So we came up with a whole system of controlling distance with our wedges.
Which is funny because the system we developed years ago, all my tour players still use it. And it's incredible. They'll get up there and they got a 52-yard shot. They know where to grip it, how to set their feet, and they hit the shot and the ball goes 52 yards. All of a sudden they became great wedge players because now they have a system to do it. Now with the timing element, it's just going to take it that much farther.
So now we can look at the time. As Mike's saying, we start working, they get dialed in and say the time is now checked. I'm consistent with my time with my wedges. Now I want to look at consistency of bringing up the speed. So as we set the different posture, we say in the alignment of the grip, change that lever, we change the base platform. Now I want to make sure that I'm consistent with my speed. So time is the first part, speed is the second. And I can work with launch monitors, whatever it is, to understand how far it's going. I can put flags out there, whatever it is, to get the feedback. Am I doing correctly with my distance?
See, what this is a better set of eyes. Basically, we can see a lot of things, and those are, somebody says, well, you spend over 150,000 hours on the tee, your eyes got to be pretty good. It is pretty good, but I still can't see what this can do for me. I can't see what the launch monitors can do for me. Video is a better set of eyes. The 3D, like my swing or the course plates like S2M or Swing Cat. Those are things that help me become smarter. When they help me become smarter, basically it makes my job easier as a teacher.
And so really at Blast, we want to take all these tools and put together a toolbox for you. So we look at Blast Connect as being able to bring in all these technologies together, kind of in one place in one hub. So now I can understand as a coach or as a player, I can interact with my players and coaches in one spot. So it kind of brings all the technologies together, my toolbox for the first time in one spot, which makes it really easy as a coach. I'm not having to learn 25,000 different pieces of software to be able to understand how to coach my students.
How many of you, okay, here's the great thing about it, okay? Because it's affordable, it's something that you can sell your students. How many of you, when your student leaves you, actually have some way of knowing if they're practicing? You don't. Okay, now we have a tool that we can give them and say, you know what, you need to use this tool. I want you to use it every day before I see you again. And now you're going to see progress, because now they're going to get better because they're actually using something that's going to give them feedback and help them become better. So it's a great tool. Plus, it's a money-making way for you because it's an upsell. You have a connection with them. No better way than using something like Blast.
Yeah, it just helps so much as a coach, right? That connectivity, and also from the student, you now are giving them responsibility. So we're asking you to do these exercises. This is the program I want you to do. Now, are you going to do it? Because they'll come back and see us a month, 2 months later, and say, yeah, I'm ready to go, and it's back to the exact same lesson again. So they're not progressing. So as a coach or a student, there's not much progress.
So if I had 6 students and I had 6 Blast units that I distributed, had them buy, whatever, I have the capability to sync that in a web portal and be able to see all the metrics that they're...
You can see them in real time. So a lot of our tour players, we know where they are at the different events, and we can see who's training, who's not. What times of the day are they training? Again, some of the guys, I need the rest. I'm asking you to do active rest in your training. So we want to go active rest, and when do we want to put the stress on the student? So if we're working on short game, long game, again, players, athletes, they kind of go what they do best. They usually don't work on their weaknesses. So as coaches, we really need to help them understand what their weaknesses are and track those weaknesses and get them to make those a strength.
The reason I wasn't a superstar player is because I was a great ball striker and spent 0 time on the putting green because I was a crappy putter. So there was no reason for me to try to reinforce what I was already doing wrong. If I'd had something like Blast Motion, I would have found out why I wasn't a great putter, and it would have made me a better putter, and probably would not have been a great teacher. But you know what? It made me a great teacher because I kept searching for answers because I wanted to find out why I wasn't a better putter. This is phenomenal technology. If you don't own it, you need to own it. And this is a great way to get your students so that they are responsible for their practice time. Because the hour a week that they spend with us is 1 hour a week. They need to be able to carry it over and continue to work on it and continue to get better.
And again, you can make motions. You don't always have the impact of the ball. But we actually ask them, so if we're trying to change a motor pattern, we're trying to change a posture, a base platform, and we want to work on some certain segment of their body, they can just make motions and we can track it. So again, are they getting the reps in and the good reps without trying to get into ball impact or maybe ball flight or target awareness? So again, as we progress to those students, we want to eliminate the ball in some situations. In other situations, we want to have the ball and the target. So again, it's able to track all those patterns.
See, the key to getting better, practice doesn't make perfect, it just makes permanent. What you want is a properly supervised program with a purpose. With Blast Motion, you can supervise the program, both the teacher and the student. They can see the progress, and that's when they start to get better.
So now, you know, as students or as coaches, we understand video, right? The 3D stuff is kind of hard. We've been playing with it so many years, it starts to make sense. We see a 2-dimensional video when we're looking at 3D data, but not everyone sees that same thing. It's kind of like the Matrix, right? But now we have the 2-dimensional video at high speed, and the 3-dimensional data automatically sync. So it really makes that video camera smart. And again, as coaches, we know it's always hard to turn on the camera, off the camera. It kind of is a pain in the rear. And now the sensor makes the video camera smart. It makes the body track system smart. So again, we know when the motion is started, the motion is stopped. What is the pattern we're looking for? Is it a putting stroke, wedge shot, driver, whatever it is? It now turns that camera on and off, and it clips it. And for the student that maybe is taking a couple of those motions, they're off in a different part of the country, they can see that video very quickly. Now as a coach, I not only have that 2-dimensional video, because usually they don't put the video camera in the right place, but now I have the 3-dimensional data to tell us the information. So is their timing correct? Yes or no. Are they in frequency? Yes or no. How's the speed? Yes or no. So now it really helps us as coaches direct those students into the programs.
How many of you want to make your students better? Only one of you? No, we all want to make them better. Why not use a tool that is both portable and affordable, and something that you can make money off of, and you can have, and gives them a responsibility and keeps them working on what you want them to work on.
Yeah, so it connects us, right? It connects us to our students, but also it can connect us to other coaches. So you don't have to be the physical therapist and the golf coach at the same time. So I want to bring in all the different disciplines, all the other coaches into that same portal, so now I can interact with my student. Maybe the student needs to work on the psychological profiles, whatever it is. Maybe it's a physical issue. Maybe it's a mechanical issue with the golf club. But now I can bring those coaches in back into that portal so they can understand how to do it.
Come on up here, Kevin. Does everybody know Kevin Kirk? Kevin is this is one of the best teachers in the world. Teaches Lexi Thompson, teaches Patrick Reed, and teaches Johnny Vegas. And have you used Blast Motion yet?
Yeah, we are using Blast Motion. Actually just started using Blast Motion with Jonathan. That reminds me of this with Jonathan. Some of the coaching we're doing with him is kind of based on trying to kind of create some more stability and kind of more reliable levels.
Yeah. Kevin's one of my very close friends, incredible teacher, makes people better, and he understands the need for feedback from the student and responsibility for them, so now they're accountable for their practice time.
Thanks, Mike. Carry on.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, perfect.
So, any questions? You can line right up here, and we can get you Blast Motion, take home with you right away. Thank you very much.
Thank you.